Hello and welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Season 3 balance notes. As you can see here, they were posted on the 2nd, but I was a little busy yesterday, so things are getting posted today. But we're going to be going through every single change for all of these characters, going through the team-ups, going through all that stuff, and just talking about the balance changing, whether that's good for the character or not, whether they needed that change, and yada yada yada. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. We got our Vanguard changes up first, starting with Emma Frost. It looks like they reduced the telepathic pulse damage at 99 energy from 120 per second to 110 per second, and down from at 150 energy or 150 damage per second to 140 damage per second at 100 energy. So basically at full energy, because you're only going to be at 99 for like half a second before you hit 100 in most cases. Like, it would be very hard for you to like keep your beam at 99, but just how you gain energy with her primary fire. But it looks like at full energy, you're just going to be doing 10 less damage per second, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. Because if you think about it, if you keep your beam on someone, I'd say like, 3 to 4 seconds to kill tanks. Well, this, could add another second, because that's 40 to 50 damage that you've lost over the course of those seconds. So that, I think, is actually a fairly substantial change. I think while you're building your energy up, that's not going to be changed because it's not changed at all. But against squishies, you might not notice too much because they're squishies. You're going to be killing them slower because, you do 10 less damage per second. But I think you should still be able to kill them fast enough to where it doesn't really affect your ability to take out squishies at full energy. But for more health, like healthier targets or larger health opponents, I think you're going to feel it. Reduced Diamond Form damage reduction from 30% to 25%. I get this one. But basically what this is going to mean is that while you're in Diamond Form, you're a little less tanky. You don't have 5% damage reduction that you used to have. You only have 25% damage reduction instead of 30%. So, yeah. You're just going to be a little less tanky while you're in Diamond Form. And that means, like, the little combo of, like, having a thing uses his Embattled Leap onto you to give you extra damage reduction. It means instead of having 55% damage reduction, you just have a flat 50%. So, and then reduce the energy cost of Psionic Seduction from 3,700 to 3,400. So it requires less like energy to activate your ultimate, so you're going to be able to use her ult slightly more often. So yeah, she got a slight nerf, I think, overall, because her primary fire is slightly weaker, and her Diamond Form is slightly tankier because of the damage reduction change here. But you get her ultimate back a little faster. So I think these are alright changes, honestly. I think she was a little too strong in like the damage and tanking departments. And now you just get your ultimate faster to set up for your teammates and to like combo stuff with them. So good changes, I think. And then the Thing, new ability. Yeah, that's right. He got a new ability. Battle Blitz. The Thing leaps towards enemies, gaining 25% damage reduction. Leap targeting distance to enemies is 20 meters. So, similar to Embattled Leap, he can leap to a target, but this time instead of leaping to an ally to give them damage reduction and to like get onto them to start helping them with whatever they're dealing with, you can instead jump to an enemy. And that's pretty useful because now when you jump to an enemy, gaining that 25% damage reduction as you start fighting them, because if you're leaping to them, you're going to be in their face and you're going to start engaging, and you'll start that engagement with 25% damage reduction, which is pretty nice. But now Stone Haymaker knocks down flying enemies. So I think what they were going with for these changes, and I'm pretty sure what I heard them say in the dev video, which I had not watched all the way through yet, my bad, was that a lot of some like Vanguards were really struggling with tanks this season, which, yeah, I could definitely see with Human Torch, Storm, Ultron, and Storm just being everywhere, and Iron Man. I think I said Storm twice. But yeah, now I think the idea is you want to leap to an enemy, and then while you're in the air, you want to hit them with your Stone Haymaker to ground them. So once you both land, you can start beating them up, and you can ground them for your teammates, because you can just knock them out of the air, and then once they're on the ground, they're easy pickings for, your Iron Fist, your Wolverine, your Punisher, your whoever, your Moon Knight, whatever you want to do. And then Venom. Increase cellular corrosion enemy slow rate from 15% to 25%. So his slow is now 10% stronger, which is quite a bit. But But what this is really going to do is this is really going to help his synergy with his teammates and with their other abilities, because now if you hit them with the slow, or if you've applied the slow, they can pretty much be kept in your teammates AoE for 10% longer effectively. So, well, actually, you slow them. Well, you slow them down more, so they're in it for longer. You know what I mean? The slower they move, the less distance they travel. Thus, the longer they're in the AOE. So the more damage they take. So, like, if Moon Knight uses his ultimate, you can apply the slow onto those enemies, and then they move 25% slower. So it's gonna take them longer to get out of the ultimate, which is gonna be pretty nice. All right, next up. Moving on, we have our duelist changes, which there are quite a few. I think duelists got changed the most out of everyone this patch. Yeah, okay. Starting with the Human Torch, which I still need to make his guide, which is on the way. Ultron guide is first, though. Ultron guide should be out on Monday. But Human Torch. Reduce fire cluster damage per projectile from 6 to 5.5. Now, since I haven't made the guide on him, I'm not sure exactly how many pellets are in each of his blasts, but each one of those pellets does half a point less damage, and let's just say there's 5, that's like 2.5 damage you're losing. So, yeah, just overall, his fire cluster damage, since the projectile damage was changed, it is going to do less damage overall, because each individual pellet doesn't deal as much damage. So he got a damage nerf on his primary fire, which I'm pretty sure fire cluster is his primary fire. Reduced supernova activation shockwave damage from 80 to 75, and fire tornadoes damage over time from 120 per second to 110 per second. So basically, while you activate your supernova form, your ultimate form, your shockwave, your slam is going to deal 5 less damage, and your fire tornadoes are going to deal 10 less damage per second. Similar with Emma Frost's primary fire, which also deals 10 less damage per second. It's going to be felt more on targets with higher health, because they just have more health you have to get through, so you have more time to notice that you're dealing less damage. But for weaker targets, you should still kill them relatively quickly. So, like, Squishy has 250 health. That's still, like, 2.3 seconds or something with 110 damage. I'm sorry. It's like 3 seconds. Or no, because it's DOT, so it'd be like 2.5 or something like that. And then team up anchor bonus of 5% damage boost, which I believe his team up is with Spider-Man. Yeah, which we'll get to that later. So yeah, he now has a team up with Spider-Man where he gets 5% damage boost. So that's just saying that that's a thing now. So yeah, overall, Human Torch got some of his damage toned down a little bit. His fire cluster does less damage, and his ultimate, while you're in that form, a lot of your abilities in that are going to do less damage as well. Moving on. Ooh, give me one moment, actually. Alright, moving on. Iron Man. Reduce the first 2 repulsor blast hits from 40 to 35 and from 50 to 45 while in armor overdrive. So basically, your first 2 hits of your primary fire, your repulsor blast, are going to do less damage. 5 less damage on each of those first 2 hits, so just keep that in mind. Maybe a target is really low, maybe they're like really low, they only have, I don't know, like 90 health, or 80 health. Let's say they had 80 health. Beforehand, 2 hits would for sure take them out. Now, it won't. They'll barely be saved. Oh no, of course, my headset is dying while recording this. But yeah, basically, your first 2 hits of your primary fire are not going to deal as much damage, so you just need to keep that in mind if you're trying to finish off lower targets, or if you're initiating, you're not going to get them as low as quickly, because you deal 10 less damage on those first 2 shots in both forms. And then increase the energy cost of his Invincible Pulse Cannon, which is his ultimate, from 2,800 to 3,400. So yeah, it costs a lot more to use your ultimate now, so just keep that in mind as you're playing Iron Man. Even if you're doing good, if you're doing the same amount of damage as you were dealing before, like, just being a good DPS player, it's still going to take longer to get your ultimate, so you're going to have less uses of it per match, because it's going to take longer to build, so just keep that in mind. Alright, Mr. Fantastic. It looks like he took a hit to being tanky. Reduced the inflated state bonus health from 400 to 350. So yeah, just only thing you need to keep in mind here is that when you do go into your inflated state, you're not as tanky as you were before. You have 50 less health, which is a decent amount, you know. Quite a few, DPS, their primary fire, could do 50 health in a short amount of time or one shot. So, you know, characters like Hawkeye or Black Widow might be able to take you out of your inflated state or kill you with 1 or 2 less shots now. So just keep that in mind. Alrighty. Moving on, we have Namor here. It looks like they increased the Trident of Neptune projectile damage from 70 to 75 and the projectile speed from 120 meters per second to 150 meters per second. So it looks like the Trident of Neptune is going to do 5 more extra damage, and the projectile speed is going to be faster, so you won't have to lead targets as much. Which, if you've been playing Namor quite a bit and you have that like ingrained in your muscle memory, like how far you need to lead targets based on how fast they're moving or like what character it is or whatever, you know, just keep that in mind, because that is going to be like 30 meters per second from 120 to 150 is quite a bit. So you might overlead people at first, but I think once you like get used to the ability and the new speed, you know, you should be fine. And then increase Wrath of the Seven Seas projectile speed from 120 to 150. Same thing. Yeah, the projectile just moves faster, so at first you might mess up a little bit just because you're used to the old speed or like the muscle memory or whatever, but you know, after a while you should get used to the new speed. Then moving on, we have Scarlet Witch. Reduce the max slow rate during reality erasure. Charge period from 35% to 25% and increase damage from 750 to 850. Okay, and reduce max slow rate during. Okay, so basically, while you're charging up her ability, instead of her charge slowing you down to 35%, or to slowing you down by 35%, so like 100% movement speed minus 35%, now it is you only move down to 75% of your max movement speed while you're charging your ultimate up. So while you're charging your ultimate up as Scarlet Witch, you're actually going to be moving faster than you were beforehand. So maybe it's going to be easier for you to get into like good ult spots. Like you can pop your ult early so it has time to charge up, and then you can quickly move into a position where you can explode and not give your enemies too much time to react. Which the element of surprise is pretty crucial for her ultimate, I think, because, you know, as soon as people hear you charging up, everyone is kind of like all guns, just, you know, snap into you. And it does 100 extra damage, so even if people have a lot of overhealth or a lot of shielding, or just like someone is really tanked up, you can take them out. You do 100 extra damage, which is nothing to scoff at. 850 damage like that, so you can erase some stuff. And then we have Spider-Man, which it looks like Spider-Man actually got some buffs here. Increase get over here kick damage when pulled to enemies from 50 to 55 damage, so you do 5 extra damage with that ability. Increase spider power mid-air damage from 50 to 55, so you do an extra 5 damage there. And increase amazing combo damage from 55 to 60. So basically, you just do 5 extra damage on 3 of your different moves here, so you just do increased damage. Not a huge buff since it's 5 damage on 3 different abilities, but if you're doing your combos and you're, you know, weaving your abilities in together, it's going to add up and you're going to be dealing a lot more damage overall just from, you know, the little bits here and there. Like, the little bits add up over time. So, yeah, Spider-Man just got some damage buffs. So if you're a Spider-Man player and you've been wanting him to get some more juice and you've been wanting him to get stronger, you should be pretty happy. And then we have the Punisher. Reduce culling turret projectile damage from 12 to 10, and decrease the spell field damage from 12 to 10. So yeah, it looks like his turret just on all the parts of the ability you deal 10 damage, now it's up 12, which, just like I said with the Spider-Man, little damage does add up over time. So over the course of your full turret's duration, like the full ability, you will probably notice that you've done less damage because you're just doing less damage per projectile, which is going to make his turret a little weaker. I still think, even though it's down to 10 damage per projectile per part of the ability, the turret's going to be really strong. So I think the turret, you know, excels at just like playing defensively, holding parts of the map, and just, you know, funneling enemies. And like, in theory, when you're using your turret, it should be in a spot where you can just rain on them, and just the amount of firepower you're putting out should overwhelm them, even with this neutered damage. And then we all saw this coming after watching the tournament. Increase the energy cost of his ultimate from 3,400 to 3,700. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take more energy for you to use your ultimate, so you're gonna get it less per match. Which, to be fair, the Punisher was able to build his ultimate back pretty quickly just because he puts out a lot of damage, and his damage is relatively easy to deal with him having a relatively easy primary fire. The turret ability is easy to land, yada yada yada. So yeah, just it's gonna take more to get his ability going, or his ultimate going. All right. Then Winter Soldier, adjust rudder stern damage fall off maximum at 40 meters from 60% to 70%. So a slight nerf here to Winter Soldier, basically at 40 meters and further at your maximum damage fall off. Instead of dealing 60% of your damage at max, now it's going to be 70%. So at those longer distances, you're going to be dealing 10% less damage. So just keep that in mind when you're playing the Winter Soldier, that at those extreme distances of 40 meters and greater, you are going to be putting out less damage. And then finally, Wolverine. Increase Feral Leap strike duration from 4 seconds to 5 seconds, and increase its cooldown from 12 seconds to 15 seconds. So yeah, after you do your Feral Leap and you go into like your fast chopper mode, that is going to only last 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds. So overall, during that ability, you're going to deal less damage because you're not in it as long, and you're not going to be able to do your crazy strikes for as long. And then, whenever the ability does end, instead of getting it back at 12 seconds, it gets it back at 15 seconds. So just keep that in mind while you're playing, while you're doing your team fights and stuff, that you're going to have 3 extra seconds in between every Feral Leap, which, you know, may mess up with your teamworks and your timings and stuff, so just keep that in mind. And just know that when you use it, it's going to take longer for it to get back, so try to use it, you know, when you really need it, or when it's a good idea to. Just be more cautious when you use it, you know? And then, last but not least, we get over to the strategist changes, which there's 4. 4 of our wonderful supports are getting changes. So let's talk about those. Alright. Invisible Woman. Increase orb projectile healing on launch from 40 to 45 and damage from 20 to 25. Reduce healing on return from 40 to 35 and damage from 20 to 15. So basically, it kind of moved her ability numbers around. Since they, like, the numbers just got changed from, like, the back or the front to the back and everything, it does, I think, the same value, but you just get it on different parts. So instead of the ability being relatively, like, even, like 50-50, now you get more of your healing and more of your damage out when you first send the projectile out, which means it's more important to hit enemies with it going out rather than it coming back. I mean, in theory, you should be hitting them with both parts, like coming and going, but if you're gonna choose one to hit them with, you need to hit them with the going out one, because that's where you're gonna get most of the value from your primary fire now. So yeah, just keep that in mind to try to hit people with your abilities going out and coming back, but just know that her primary fire is more front-loaded now than it was before. And then Loki increased the energy cost of his ultimate from 4,000 to 4,300. So yep, just same thing with all the other ultimate energy increases. Just more energy to use your ultimate, which means it's going to take longer for you to get it, which means you're going to have less uses per match. So just keep that in mind. Then Mantis. Healing Flower new effect. Heals allies by 2.5%. Reduce base healing from 20 per second to 12.5 per second. Alright, so yeah, the base healing is lowered, but now you get 2.5% of their health per second, which is really going to help, I believe, heal up tankier targets more, because they have more max health. So, like, you know, the Hulk with, I don't know how much the Hulk has off grip, I think 400. The Hulk with 400 health max is going to heal more per second with a 2.5%. Than, say, like, an Ultron with 250, because their max health is lower, so that 2.5% of their max health is a lower number. So yeah, so I think this should help heal tankier targets, but with the 12.5% base healing, I think, like, lower health targets, it might take a little bit longer, because they're gonna benefit more from this versus this, because they have a lower maximum health. But overall, I think you should be seeing more healing out of Mantis, especially on your tanks. And then, increase energy cost of Soul Resurgence, or Ultimate, from 3,700 to 4,300, and then increase bonus max health from 100 to 150. So basically, it's going to take longer to get your ultimate because it takes more energy, less uses per match, yada yada yada. All the stuff I said about the other ultimates. But this one you get a little bonus. Instead of getting 100 bonus health, bonus max health, you get 150. So everyone you hit with your with Soul Resurgence is gonna have a little bit extra more health, which might save them 50 health ain't nothing to scoff at. That's a bullet or two, So yeah, so her ultimate I think did get improved with the extra health, but it is gonna take a little bit longer for it to use. So I think fair trade-off in my opinion. And then finally, Ultron, which I have the guide written for him. I'm still editing together the gameplay and stuff, which I've already recorded the audio for the guide, so I'm just going to leave a pinned comment at the top with these changes because I don't want to go ahead and re-record the script and everything. So let's look at his changes. And I'll put all of what I'm about to say in the pinned comment on Ultron's guide, so you don't have to, like, come back to this video. You can just see it there. But reduce dynamic flight acceleration effect time from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. Reduce imperative firewall bonus health to self from 75 to 65 and to allies from 55 to 50. So with the dynamic flight acceleration effect time, 8 seconds to 6 seconds, you're going to move a lot less distance now because you have that accelerated speed for 2 seconds less, because I talk about in the guide how to use it as an escape tool and to get out. So you're not going to travel as much distance because you don't move with your movement speed buff for as long. Also, while dynamic flight is active, you do get a slight health regen effect. I think it's like 50 health per second. That's going to heal you for 100 health less because, once again, you're not in that buff state for as long. So I still think dynamic flight will be a good escape tool or a good initiator for Ultron, but it's slightly not as good because you're not in that state for as long, so you don't get those benefits for as long. So that is, I think, definitely going to take a hit to him and his survivability and his ability to escape from team fights and stuff. And then it's kind of the same thing here with Imperative Firewall. The bonus health from 75 to 65 just makes him a little less tanky, a little less survivability. He can't quite as save himself as well if he needs to. And then for to allies, same thing with to some extent, some lesser extent, because instead of 10 health, they're only losing 5. So you're still might have a harder time saving an ally or giving them the extra bonus health they need to survive something. But with 50 health and 65 health still, I think the ability is good. But it is a nerf to Ultron. And then we have the team up abilities. We're getting 2 new ones based on the new season and everything. We have the ever-burning bond between Human Torch and Spider-Man, which is sick because they have they're really good friends with the comics and stuff, so it's really cool to see that represented here in-game. Human Torch gets the anchor bonus, a 5% damage boost, so for him, the team-up is just the damage boost. And Spider-Man gets the new Infernal Blast ability, which we don't see gameplay of here, or because it's the patch notes and they don't say what it does, so we'll have to see what that is in game when the season launches, or if they do like some more gameplay or like a dev stream or something like that. And then we have Primal Flame. Phoenix gets the anchor bonus of 10% damage boost per output, which is going to be gross with her because she looks incredible with her damage, her AoE, her mobility, which you should check out my little gameplay reveal, reaction, and breakdown of her, which I'm gonna remember to put a card of it right here, but I might forget. But the card will be somewhere in this video, so if you know how to check for the cards on YouTube videos, look at my Phoenix reveal, reaction, and breakdown, because we break down her abilities and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be gross. And then Wolverine gets the Phoenix Warrior ability, which obviously we don't know what that does because we don't see it here. And then the Spider-Man Squirrel Girl team up is removed. The Iron Man and Ultron team up actually now works with Squirrel Girl. So Iron Man and Squirrel Girl now have a team up, with Squirrel Girl gaining the Squirrel Missile ability as long as she is playing with an Iron Man. And then the Human Torch Storm ability is gone, and the Venom Jeff / Hela ultimate is gone. Or I'm sorry, the Hela part of it is gone. So it's still Venom and Jeff, but not Venom and Hela, because Hela loses it. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I read these last night to prepare for this, and I'm being dumb. Hela gains the ability. See? Keyword reading comprehension is important on the internet, fellas. Hela gains. So Hela now has a team up with Venom, which makes sense because of the Season 3 trailer and all that stuff with Hela being like the queen in black, I guess. Like Noel wifed her up, I guess. I don't know. Uh, and then we got some balance changes. For the Adam Warlock team up with Star-Lord and Mantis, the Leader Soul and Nature Soul ability cooldown is now 15 seconds longer, so the team up ability takes a little bit longer to get back, like 15 seconds longer, so that's actually quite a big change. And then the Venom and Jet the Lane Shark team up increase the Guardian of the Deep maximum bonus health from 50 to 100 and max Tendril link period from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. So now you get more of that maximum bonus health. It can instead go up to 100, so double that. And the link period is now 2 seconds longer, so almost double on that as well. So it looks like the Venom and Jeff team up ability got a lot stronger. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. We covered all the new changes. I honestly don't disagree with any of these. I'm actually quite happy with a lot of these, especially I'm so glad to see this team up removed. I'm sorry. I'm so glad. I hate getting hit with that constantly. But yeah, I'm really excited to play the Thing. I think the Thing is probably the biggest winner this patch, low-key, because, I mean, I am a little biased because he's one of my favorite tanks to play, but, like, his ability to now jump to enemies, not just flyers, but any enemies, is going to be really good for him to, like, you know, get back to the front lines, cause a distraction, peel for his team, protect his, like, supports or whatever. But also, he gets a damage reduction from the leap as well, which makes his, you know, doing that easier for him. But also, his Haymaker being able to knock down flying enemies is just going to be really nice and really, you know, his whole kit just gives him an option to deal with a lot of characters he couldn't deal with before. So I think he's a really big winner this patch. And then I think Spider-Man is also a pretty big winner. So Scarlet Witch. But I think Spider-Man just increasing a lot of his damage on his moves. I think really good Spider-Man players are going to see a lot from that. Just because it's really going to add up over the time. Because if you think about it, you know, how often are you landing your amazing combo in a match? Like a lot. You're landing a lot. Same thing with the Spider Power or the Get Over Here kick. You're landing these moves a lot, and that 5 extra damage is going to come into play a lot. So I think Spider-Man and Iron Man are probably the two biggest winners this patch, and I'm excited to get in there and try out all these changes on the 11th, which is when the new season starts. So yeah. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed going over these balance changes with me and these patch notes and everything, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for everything Marvel Rivals related, like guides, gameplay, content, all that stuff. News, you know. And then also, don't forget to check the description down below for a link to my Discord, where I'm trying to get, like, game nights going and just, you know, community events and all that stuff going. And you can always look for people to play Rivals with. We have an LFG on there too, you know. But also, there's a link to my Twitch channel where I'm going to be streaming the launch of the season. I'm just going to be streaming more regularly. As you can tell by this week of uploads, I'm getting more back on schedule with my uploads and stuff, and I really want to get into streaming. So go ahead and follow me there early, so when I do stream the launch of Season 3, we can chill, hang out, you know, explore the new map together, play as Phoenix, figure her out, and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm Zolulix. Thank you for watching this far. If you made it this far, that means a lot, because my analytics show me that like 3% of people that watch my videos make it this far. So if you made it this far, you're in the 3%, the top 3%. Think about it, the whole globe, and 3% of those people, that's you. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Zolulix, and I will see you in the next video.